Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Monday of, it's a little gloomy outside. I thought it would be a little brighter and warmer, but hopefully it will warm up later this week. Today, what I wanted to talk about was having hard conversations with your significant other. I know last week I had described how it's important that we have these hard conversations and that we actually try to engage in our partners in these talks about boundaries and different things during quarantine. But what exactly does that mean? Like having hard conversations in a way that our partners or other people in our lives can absorb. Well, I want to be real that first things first, I have really tried to figure out this concept because I've not always been good about having hard conversations. In fact, I used to err on the side where either A, I would totally avoid it altogether, or B, if when I finally did have this hard conversation, I would just kind of like blow up and maybe not say it the way that I really meant it or in a way that people could absorb because I was so hurt or angry or upset by that point. And so I've not only because I'm a marriage and family therapist, but I have personal experience with this and not doing it so well. So I am a student of this too. I know that I have to go back to this when I have hard conversations with my own partner. And also, it's been interesting this last year and a half learning how to manage people with Soma. Also knowing that I have to have hard conversations there sometimes with providers and staff, and even clients that are really upset for various reasons. So this has been a skill that I've had to develop and is still a work in progress for me too. So essentially what I've learned though is that we have to be super kind and say positive things to the person we're talking to in the midst of saying the feedback that we're giving them that's negative or critical. We have to add in some positive. We have to add in that we see them as a good human because we really do. Like, I don't think this is just fluff. I really think that sometimes when we have these conversations, the person receiving it can forget that overall, they're usually awesome and that they usually do so many good things for us unless we wouldn't have that relationship in our life, right? And so sometimes we kind of have to remind them as we're having that hard conversation because we are all human and we absorb things better when we feel like the other person sees us as a good human and that they trust and ultimately see us as intending to do good in the world. So we have to feel like that person sees us as good to really absorb it. The other thing too is we have to really be even what I would call extra kind and making sure that our tone of voice is kind and calm. And if we're struggling with that, take a deep belly breath. I know that some of these conversations are hard and anxiety provoking. Trust me, sometimes I have to take a couple of belly breaths when I'm having these conversations, but try to make sure that you're that non-anxious presence and you're regulating yourself throughout that conversation so that you can really, really connect with that person with calm and with kindness. It's really hard to do, but so, so important. If a person connects with me and I can tell that they're hostile or they're angry or they say it super bluntly or I feel like they're being a jerk, my prefrontal cortex shuts off, and instead of actually absorbing the information that probably has some really good quality in it that I need to understand, instead of absorbing that, all I can think about is how much of a jerk that person is being. I totally lose sight of how they're trying to help me, how they're trying to give me feedback that I really need to learn from, and I just see the negative. And so knowing that, we have to also make sure that when we're having those conversations, that we are calm and we are extra kind. Because the kinder we can be, the softer we can be. Again, I know it sounds fluffy, but the more absorbed our message will be, the more effective it will be. So this isn't just about fluff. This isn't about being woo-woo. It's actually about being an effective communicator. And so I would encourage you that if you have to have these tough conversations, like we all do, that you do it with some grace and you do it with calm. If you need to regulate, remove yourself from the conversation and regulate. And that you try to do it in a way that you remember that you absorb too. Now, for some people, they can absorb things more bluntly, so that may not work. But remember that most people absorb things when it's kind and that we give them positive stuff around it and encouragement and empowering feedback around it too. Also using terms like we sometimes when it applies, like saying, hey, we could work on this together. That also disarms people too and helps them from becoming defensive. So that's another tip as well. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I am just sipping on my coffee in the dark over here because it's super, super cloudy. But I will talk to you tomorrow, and I hope you have an awesome Monday.